Slash, the fucking guitarist for Guns N' Roses, is not going to join in on some YouTube music. Like, he's doing fine.
This year in 2021, any collabs or any like you want to do with anyone else?
Wilbur Soot.
The thing is I want to, but I don't want to force it. Like I've been recently, like, there's a few like musicians who I've been interacting with. Like Declan McKenna followed me the other day, and that was like, oh my god. And then like Sam Tompkins is someone who I've spoken to. I sent him before it was out and like asked for his opinion on it. And then there's obviously Wilbur. The thing is like I've written with Wilbur before. Like he wrote a bit of Calling. I did the drums for The Internet Has Ruined Me. It's like we are always going to be making music together as long as we know each other. Like I know he has projects next year and he's asked me to come down and help him out. Like even from a perspective of just like telling him if something's good or not. I don't know if we will do music together featuring. I don't know if that will happen. I don't think either of us are like particularly urging it to happen, because realistically his platform is massive, right? It's huge, but I don't want to just create a music career off of the back of someone else. Like I would much rather like feature artists that are within my realm of reach than just go to Wilbur and go, hey, let me be Jared, let me be this like person in one of your songs, because then it's like I don't want to just like, yeah, that's exactly it. It's just like he has his own vibe, he has his own success, and I don't want to leech off of that. Like the guy's great, you know.
I feel like that's the proof of a successful musician, someone who can make songs without features and do well. Like you get so many popular artists that are all just features, but then I'm just someone that's off the top of my head. Lewis Capaldi never has a feature. Joji never has
6ix9ine.
Joji never has a feature. 6ix9ine has a lot of features.
I think in my mind there are a few people who I would want to feature on a song, and I've named them. I'd want Wilbur on a song of mine at some point if I was to ever make an album. The other person is George Watsky. If I had Watsky do a verse in a song,
I think it's George Mimulus.
Watsky would be, because he follows me as well, and that would be like just a childhood dream of mine. And the other one is if I could get Slash to do a solo for me, I'd fucking like die. Like that's one of my like bucket lists.
Is there any completely unrealistic features that you're like just unrealistic?
Slash, that's not happening. Like no, because like
You could get Matty Healy on a track with you, Jay.
the thing is like I think if you get onto Dirty Hit, if Dirty Hit sign you they like help you produce shit anyway. So it's like that is if people get, I don't think I'll get signed to Dirty Hit anytime soon, but that's like within the realms of possibility. Slash, the fucking guitarist for Guns N' Roses, is not going to join in on some YouTube music. Like he's doing fine.
Why not, mate?
So that's definitely the most unrealistic.
I can definitely see some likelihood, some likeliness between. I think, New Face, and I can see similarities between that and potentially some early days 1975. Probably a little bit more towards the new stuff, if you get what I mean. How inspired by other people, bands, what are your inspirations for your own music?
I really like some of Bieber Doobie's music, and that was when I wrote Calling, or when I heard Wilbur do the Calling guitar. I was like, mate, you need to put a shaker on this, because I listened to She Plays Bass and I was like, that's got like a really good vibe behind it. So like as soon as that really inspired the shaker for that, just kind of like bedroom pop shaker. Other than that, it's kind of like, I really like the way that Two Door Cinema Club can write music that just fucking sticks in your head and you feel nostalgic about without even realizing it. And that was one of the inspirations for him. And then, yeah, the 1975 for New Face, the newer stuff, which I don't think is done as good as it could have been. So like, it's like, I really like their music, but I was like, I found myself being a bit disappointed about the latest album because it felt like they were just kind of doing as much as possible at once. And so I was like, I'd like to give it a go.
When we listened to the new album together, didn't we? And I found that there were parts of the album that were probably a little bit more dropped off, but that's probably the pressure, like you can probably relate to, of trying to release probably quite a fat amount of music. It seems so eclectic. It was just reaching a little bit, which is also like a credit to artistry. But I think your idea where you try and move towards like an EP thing where you're just like a few songs at a time, is probably the best way to go unless you've got like large production.
The thing is like I have contact with labels now because we've been talking about like there have been some discussions, and all of those guys say release a song a month, don't release an album. Like they're kind of like playing into a lot of the kind of YouTube way of thinking now, which is like you need to be releasing content, which is a bit of a shame because like it's kind of mudded the idea of an album, because an album used to always be tell a story within maybe like 10 to 15 songs. Now it's do as many songs as you can, fucking get those streams, because that's how you make your money.
Pure money consumption though at that point though, isn't it? Like you take away like an album, like the first 1975 album where it's sonically all in tune and on par, but then by the time this recent album came out, we've already heard like 5 of the songs, if you get what I mean. So that meant that there were like 16 songs or something. So you've got, and some of them are interludes. So you get minimal content from an album, but you get maximum via each single that keeps being released, I think from the new album, there was only 3 songs which I hadn't heard, which I really loved.
That's why I feel like quite blessed in my situation, because I'm not doing this for money. Again, it's like, if I was doing this for money, you'd see me release every song that we were going to put on the EP. There would be 7 songs on the EP, and I would not like 4 of them. And it wouldn't be like, it wouldn't have that same amount of passion in it. You wouldn't be feeling the emotions that I wanted you to feel, but I'd be earning from it. So like the fact that YouTube is my job, and then I can just put my passion into smaller projects that are better, in my opinion, than the stuff I would make that was just more of, that makes me very happy. Like I'm very fortunate to be in that position.
I've got a little question for you, because obviously you're talking about who you want to do dream collabs with, which is Slash, Wilbur Soot, and I forgot the other guy.
Well, I wouldn't say, the thing is about Wilbur, I wouldn't call him a dream collab. I just think it would just be sick. Like we would make something really good. The dream collab is Slash.
Like you've known him for ages, and I'm sure I've told you this. I've told you the story about how I met him, didn't I? I've mentioned it a few times before. How like when I met you and him, he told me he was not Wilbur Soot. And then I was like, oh, okay.
See, I hadn't known him for long at that point, but he's one of the few people I've met that was just like a very immediate connection, because he came over to meet Fraser, and then Fraser ended up being really busy with a video, so he couldn't really spend much time with him. And I was just downstairs with him and his girlfriend at the time, and we were just chatting about shit, and then he noticed I had a guitar, and he was like, oh, I should bring my guitar over and we should jam or something, haha. And I was like, yeah, go on, do it when you're coming over. And then we did it. And then at that point we were seeing each other pretty much like, if not every day, every 2 days. He'd come over at like midnight, we'd get a McDonald's and make music until 3 a.m. He'd bring his friend.
Was this the first apartment that you had with Fraser?
This was in the house in Greenwich, so really late on.
Okay, cool.
So this was about a month before you would have met.
Oh, I thought you had known him for a long time before that.
Like you'd think that now, because we've just spent a lot of time together. Like I very much know him, and he very much knows me very intimately. But yeah, no, we just spent a lot of time together in a very short amount of time.
Kinky.
Is there something more going on in a friendship?
No, I've just always found myself like I can only really get comfortable in certain situations, and one of them's making music. So it's like whenever I made music with someone, it was always a very kind of like open experience, and I had that with him. Like he was probably one of my favorite people to write with. Like definitely up there with Holder. So like. That was just like a very cool thing for me.
Are you telling me you don't feel comfortable with me next to you at Striker and Pro Clubs?
That's where I create my real art in the final third. Yeah.